Welcome to No Match for a Blaster, a Star Wars role-playing podcast. Episode 8, Rest and Revelry. I'm your host, coming to you live on a pre-recorded holo, Ito Davis. We welcome you again to our podcast. If you're new here, No Match for a Blaster is an actual play podcast featuring Morality Play's crew playing the Star Wars role-playing system by Fantasy Flight Games. As per usual, if you're enjoying the antics so far, please consider reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play Music, or wherever you go for your podcast needs. It only takes a minute, and reviews go a long way to help new listeners discover us. So, without any further ado, let's get back to the moon of Hoban and our heroes.
Previously on No Match for a Blaster. Beneath the surface of Hoban, disaster has been averted. The young pilot, Camiya Ceryss, in spite of her wounds, has succeeded in flying a time-worn starship out of the ruined military base, Cassie Ceryss and Marshal Remi Drobash in tow. On their tails, an ancient Sith Lord composed equally of circuitry and flesh is entombed by a mountain of Duracrete. Away from bandits, droids, and the force-wielding cyborg, the three find themselves finally safe at the end of Exodus Day 2. For now.
So, where we left off, you guys shot like a rocket out of the mountain face. We're running from out of the bunker, away from a bad guy. I didn't say Sith Lord. You said Sith Lord.
We assume we killed multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a giant explosion on our way out. There's no way he survived that.
And a cave-in.
And a cave-in,
Remi caused a whole cave-in down there. So, as far as I know...
Our poor robot friend.
Yeah.
Remi's earned a beer, so...
droid friend.
Yeah, we don't have robots around here. What are you talking about?
Around these parts.
Yeah. We don't take kindly to robots around these parts.
Oh, yeah, so roll you guys recover from stuff.
Okay.
Ah, yes, straining.
Yep.
Alright, so that's recovering from 3 strain, right?
Yes. So you can either roll your...
Discipline or cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I roll cool, and I'm pretty cool.
That's a couple strain.
And I feel better.
Yeah. And you recover equal to your successes, and I believe advantages don't do jack.
And what, Remi has 0, didn't you say?
Yeah, I was good, so I didn't need to recover strain. I do have a wound, though. Anybody else have wounds?
I definitely have wounds.
Let's park somewhere. Remi knows medicine. Remi!
Yeah.
Remi, you get a...
Oh, I was just shouting through the ship.
Is that
just...
Oh.
His phone's ringing. His space phone's ringing.
The old space phone.
He answers it.
Hey, Marshall, where you been? It's crazy out here.
You're telling me. What's going on your end?
Oh, there's been madness at the docks all damn day. That government guy went ahead and left. He left you a holotape, though. Said it was for your ears only. It's waiting for you. But we could really use your help down here. The Alexander boys are trying to take produce off the planet, and they know that they're not allowed to do that, and we could really use your help out here. We know no one knows, star melons like you do.
That's true. All right. Yeah, you know what? I don't think it'll take us too long to get there.
Okay, Mark.
Anything else?
No, that's about it. It's mostly just the Melon Alexander boy incident. That's about it.
All right.
Crazy days, right? Yeah.
All right. We'll be there. We'll be there shortly.
All right.
Over now.
Over. Just to like show the level of stuff that you guys deal with normally.
So at this point, Remi climbs out of the turret, and what? Do I see anything? Do I not see anything? Am I attacked?
You were not attacked.
Okay. Well, he climbs out and starts making his way to the cockpit, and
it takes you a moment. You're like, this layout is really goofy. So you exit the turret, you walk down a small little bit of stairs, and there's like this massive there's this massive like holo projector in the center of like a room, and there's a whole bunch of screens everywhere that are mostly black. But you can around to your right, around a corner, you kind of hear Cassie and Camiya kind of talking to each other, so you can kind of walk down that way. A lot of the doors are open. They're not being auto-closed, mostly because everyone was in a rush. Also because some of that mechanism needs to be fixed. But you meander through the ship a little bit, and you find them. You walk in, and you see this pretty big 800 square foot, high ceiling, kind of weird sloped, angular, red displays everywhere cockpit. There's a single swivel chair dead center in the room that looks like it might be from a sci-fi show, which shall not be named. And then to the front left and front right of that, you have like a co-pilot's area and a pilot's area.
Okay, Remi walks up and sits in the big red leather chair.
Cool swivel chair, yeah. As Camiya is just kind of like, all right, where do you want me to take her down? We could just land in one of our fields for now.
Well, there's actually a little bit of trouble over at the starport. Can you head us over that way?
Yeah, sure.
Cam's been hurt. Can you take a look at her? I'll fly the ship. As long as it's straight and level, I can do it.
Okay.
Right, so
we're gonna do a combined medicine check, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna use my intelligence and your 1 skill point.
That's right.
So let's take care of you first.
Okay. Excellent. I only had 1 wound.
Woo! And that worked the way I hoped it did. And let's see what we can do to help Camiya out.
Mm-hmm. 1 and some
one
strain.
wound and a bunch of strain.
She feels better.
Yeah, here's some painkillers. Aspirin.
All right. Yeah, I feel like that's what you did. Like, you didn't know how to handle a force wound, and then the kind of damage that it did. So you gave her some painkillers, and
which turned out to be mostly caffeine because it just recovered more strain than wounds.
I've got this can of Jolt Cola. Here you go. I don't know what it is or where it comes from, but it's probably good for you.
So, so she's drinking her Jolt Cola, apparently.
Jolt Cola spice melange flavored.
Yeah. And she looks like a lot less stressed than she did a few minutes ago. Even though she still has like this damage across her chest. Did you like bandage her up or?
Yeah, anywhere she's bleeding. Yeah.
It looks like the parts of your clothing that were there were like rotted away. They've turned into like this black, goopy kind of material. Because you're wearing mostly natural threads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all that stuff's kind of like gooped away. Looks like it's been rotted and peat moss kind of a thing. And the skin there's hard calluses, and that callus has started to kind of dry and husk and ooze a little bit.
I'm going to be really upset if this scars.
Yeah.
I feel like the clothes, it's like almost, because he hit me like smack in the chest. Yeah. Like I almost feel like the clothes are just like attractively distressed, but there's this, the skin is not attractive right now. It's really gross.
I mean, we would put like basically back to ointment, I imagine. Back to directly on the wound, and then we would bandage you in like essentially like just a massive ace bandagey kind of thing that wraps around you several times that makes your distressed clothing and look very attractive without showing off your damaged skin. So
no, you gotta there's got to be a little bit of a plunge. You see like the gnarly scar tissue with some cleavage. Oh. Like there's a little bit. You're gonna have some really nasty like scar tissue until you see a proper medical droid.
No,
with some
but we're gonna try to hide that for now because we want her to look cool until she sees that droid. Oh. If she has scar tissue later that looks really cool and impresses people, then of course we want to show it off.
So it's a plunging neckline into bandage, like wrapped bandaged chest. Okay, that's very protagonist.
So, it looks like if she didn't have the wrapped bandage, that she would be showing off way too much skin for anything less than an X-rated podcast.
Yeah.
An X-rated podcast. Oh no.
Luckily, that's what... Oh, no, I'm kidding.
Next week's on the Star Wars X-Rated Podcast.
Ooh.
You came here expecting Twi'lek. It's all Wookiee all day, baby.
Okay. Destiny pool. Do we want to Destiny it up?
Okay. Oh, balls.
Well, so it comes out even 2 and 2.
2 and 2, and I get to roll one.
I was going to say, if our game master wants to exercise his fiat,
because
let's hope he gets light side.
I didn't know he drive a Fiat.
He's got his own fiat.
I had to make a character sheet to roll this. Can I just do this? Does that work?
I think we can just assume that it's one more light side. Oh, actually, it's two more.
Two more light side. All right. Yes. So 4 light side, 2 dark side. I'll take it.
What can I use the light side on today?
Remi, you come and you see Camiya and Cassie on the bridge in this pretty dang sizable, very angular, very blackened Durasteel ship with... I mean, this ship could be called, like, the manufacturer's name for it could be Red Track Lighting. It's just everywhere. And you've seen, like, you know, people have random gearhead magazines laying around with ships and stuff like that. This is, you know, this is a black Corvette with, like, ground lighting. It is pretty, but it's old, and there's dents all over it. It's the stealth bomber / Corvette of ships.
Nice.
Into the night sky.
Okay, you have to tell me all about this ship.
You know, it's really, really old. I had to take parts off that other ship that was down there, which we could have used for more spare parts, but I'm kind of glad that things, you know, because that guy was scary, so I'm glad it exploded. Thank you, Remi. Yeah, so it's a project I've been working on.
How long? How long have you been doing this and you haven't told me that you had a ship?
I don't know. When did you leave for flight school?
So you've been doing this for 3 years?
Well, wait, I mean, you know...
Did you start the second that I left for flight school?
No, I was still in school, and nobody wants to hang out with Green Kid, so I found things to do. So I found this little base thing, and then I started exploring, and then, you know, one day I found the hangar. So yeah, I've been working on it, and this was the big surprise, because I knew you were in flight school, but you're going to come back here, and I thought, you don't want to come back here and, like, drive around, like, just transports all day, little hover trucks. Plus,
okay, so I gotta say...
and not to sound too altruistic about it, I mean, come on, this is effing cool.
This is the coolest surprise I've ever gotten.
Right? So, surprise, Remi. This is when my mom comes around and she's like, can't find me. And she's like, Remi, what did you know, where's my daughter at? This is where I've been.
So, Remi, and to your right, against the wall, the doors, you see a gleaming brass placard that's like an 1.5 inches thick on the wall next to you. And it reads, the starship Atheon, spear of the Sith Empire.
Uh-huh. Well, at least you've been productive with your time, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
The Atheon.
I mean, we don't have to keep that name. We could change it.
Isn't it bad luck to change the name of a ship?
It is definitely bad luck to change the name of a ship.
Yeah, but this is like... Okay, this belonged to something called the Sith Empire. Plus, there was that guy, so if it's got any luck at all, it's got dark sidey luck, so... You know.
Is there dark side luck and light side luck? I mean...
I'm just saying.
It's bad luck to change the name of a ship.
Yeah, but it's like an evil ship.
This ship? No, this is a good ship. She kind of looks around for a second, and she looks like really happy, and it works for her. And I think she's kind of looking around like, no, this is a good ship.
Well, I mean, yeah, you should see the size of the engines on this thing. But, yeah, okay, we can keep it. I was just saying.
That means it goes fast, right?
Sure, in theory. Sure. This is the flight test. So, you know, I know you're like just out of flight school and everything, but don't kill us.
I think I'm going to take a look around.
Yeah.
I assume I need to stay here to pilot and stuff because we're like in Atmo and we're going a short distance.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that the autopilot does not work. No.
We're gonna have trouble going anywhere.
And the alignment's real bad, so even if you like clicked on cruise control, it starts to lean to the left. You're like, that's not good.
What did you do to the autopilot?
Seriously, you're going to complain now?
Well,
do you have any idea
happened
how
to the autopilot before? It should just be working, right?
Do you have any idea how old this ship is?
Like really? I don't know. What's a Sith Empire?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's even heard of it. It's that old. Thousands of years, probably. So, it's a miracle I got it in the air. So, you're welcome. And Cassie gets up and joins Remi. Gonna give him a grand tour of the ship.
Camiya sticks her tongue out as Cassie goes away and continues to get acquainted with the bridge.
Yeah, a tour would be excellent.
She's gonna want some alone time. I mean, it's not like huge, but okay. So this, I guess, is where the crew would get together, and this holo projector is like gigantic. Like you could project life-size or bigger images. Yeah. And over here we've got the captain's quarters, and here's the little medical bay. Back here is the crew quarters. And there's what, 4 bunks back here?
There are 4 bunks inlaid into the
4
walls,
bunks.
to the left, to the right.
That's for the rest of us. She's like, here's the refrigerator. We've got water. And she goes in, hands you a nice cold water bottle.
Ooh, very nice.
there's a big Sith symbol on the front of the water bottle.
Oh, no, she brought down her own.
Oh, your own? Okay.
Yeah, it's 5,000-year-old water.
Sith water.
Sith water. When you truly have to recharge those evil electrolytes.
when you need to massacre the hell out of that thirst.
Yes. It's full of dark sidey goodness. Yeah. And she says,
he drinks some and he offers some to Imp, who also laps some up.
And then if we go back to the right side, where your gun was that you used, we've got, of course, the engineering bay back here. And it's pretty spacious. We're not like... We can't carry freighter amounts of cargo, but we could put a swoop bike or something in here. Might be able to get your speeder in here. If we go back and get it.
As you go up towards the cargo room, you hear scurrying. Although, it could be... You've never seen this thing fly, so it might be that. Who knows?
Yeah, that's probably because we're in flight.
Yeah.
There's a little rattling in the airframe. Space frame. So, but this
Or
is...
it could just be Kamiya's driving.
I'm sure it's Kamiya's driving. I mean, I know she graduated and everything, but come on, she's still like a new driver. So, yeah, that's pretty much the whole ship. It's pretty spacious. It's plenty for 3 people.
Do you, are there Durasteel boxes everywhere, like, filled with, like, cables and, sprockets and stuff that you've been able to scavenge from the hangar bay?
I would love to say yes, but probably not.
Only spacely sprockets.
Well, if you're going to use sprocket, use a spacely sprocket. So probably she just went and got parts off the other ship and left it at the bottom of the loading ramp and kind of brought in what she needed. So as much as I would love to have spare parts, this room's probably relatively empty. I mean, there's probably some boxes and parts, but...
Okay. And you've been sleeping in the bunks, not in the captain's quarters?
No, she's just been taking a bunk.
Okay.
I mean, we do have 4 light side points. We could have a light side point worth of spare
of
parts.
track lighting.
Ooh. Yeah, no. I will spend a light side point not to have track lighting. But I will use light side to have 1 unit of spare parts, please.
1 unit of spare parts.
Plot spare parts.
Exactly. A plot unit of spare parts. How you doing, Remi?
Good. I'm pretty impressed with this. I didn't notice any, I'm assuming I didn't notice any, sparking wires or anything like it all looks pretty well put together and pretty good working order as far as I can tell, right?
It looks like the outside took a lot of beating because it looked like there was a partial avalanche or partial cave-in over the many years that it was under there. But for the most part, she's repaired it, replaced panels from one ship to the other. The internals, every once in a while, you'll see conduit that looks like it's off of a different part or something like that. She's mostly been focusing on vital parts. That stuff is pretty solid. All of her work to keep it flying, to make it move, all that kind of stuff seems solid. Subsystems and stuff like that is where you can see that, some parts are missing, some things have been gutted, or if it didn't make any sense, was just kind of left open to a degree. And,
but overall, it looks like she's done a good job on this ship.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every once in a while, when you guys punched through the thing, if anybody were in this room, you would have seen, a little cloud of smoke that totally isn't, a stagehand off to the side letting off a fire extinguisher or something like that, or someone shaking the camera a little bit. Nothing something like that, but obviously not just that.
I gotta say, Cassie, I'm pretty impressed.
Thanks. This is kind of a big deal. And she looks really proud of herself.
So, where are you headed?
I believe last I heard, we were heading to the station to bring the marshal because there seemed to be some sort of urgent business that they needed him for.
Okay, so we'll say we'll do the slow lilting music coming in as you guys go there, drop off the marshal, and kind of start to wind down from many hours of high adrenaline surge day. So describe how your night goes, and then, we'll pick it up in the morning if you guys want. Okay.
Yeah, I think Remi might actually go ahead and go into the office, or the station, I guess.
Okay.
To see if there was anything that needed to be addressed right away.
You could totally just brush it off. I mean, they tend to look to you when anything kind of happens. The dispatcher will hand you a stack of notes, and they all just, cat ran, or space cat ran from house up tree, and then it's just kind of wheel fell off tractor, need help quick, that kind of stuff. The stuff that all kind of washes into the noise and background of the day for you.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just kind of delegate them on what tasks I can, and is Bernice still here?
She is.
Bernice, didn't you tell me there was a message or something left for me by that Republic guy?
Yeah, there's a holodisc on your desk, Marshall. I'm going out. The kids at home need dinner.
All right. Take care.
See you, Marshall.
See you, Bernice.
You go to your desk. It's delightfully noir-esque wooden desk, and there's a holodisc sitting on top of the keypad in front of your computer.
So is Star Wars noir with the steel desk? Is that what that implies?
I don't know. Anyway, there's a desk.
Noir Wars?
Well,
that's wooden. A good one. Oh, we need a new podcast.
New
Criff.
title. No.
Criff.
So, yeah. All right. So yeah, he goes over to the desk, pops the disc in, and kicks back and puts his feet up on the desk.
You have a little holo projector at the corner of your desk. It looks like the base of an old style lamp, and it kind of flickers on, and you see a bust of a man in a uniform pop up.
Hello, Marshal Drobash. This is Sebastian Shaw, commander of the New Republic fleet. It has come to my attention
and it starts to shrink out.
Wonder what that's about. And he kind of looks over at Imp, who screeches back to him as it fades out to the two girls.
We have a good night. You know, this is Camiya's first night back from flight school. She's been gone for a couple of years. Maybe came back, a couple of times, maybe like once a year. She's been home, and otherwise she's been out studying and working, and she's finally completed all that. But yeah, so this is her welcome home party. All of her family, big family is there. Whoever can be spared, because there are some people who are staying at various locations that we have now obtained. There's more land that we've gotten, but everybody else is kind of joined up in one big location on the Ceryss ranch, and there's lots of food. I assume at this point, Claire, that did we park the ship? Did we just park that on the Ceryss ranch? Did we bring that home?
I kind of picture it that way, but I mean, you're the pilot.
Well, okay, so we brought it home, which means that they also know about that. So they're probably fussing at Cassie too.
Oh, they're fussing at Cassie for sure.
So they're mad at both of us, but they're also, really happy that we're okay, and they're happy to see me again. So there's a big party, and we probably all get very drunk.
Yep. Yeah. There are swarms of cousins. They want to go up to the ship.
You don't see Cassie during all this. When they get off the ship, and she gets and Camiya gets yelled at by her mom for getting stabbed and hurt. Cassie's mom comes up to her. Things are very calm. They exchange a few words. They hug for a minute, and Cassie can tell just by the way her mom stands, 'cause she's always very controlled, that just the placement of her arms and the way her eyes move, that she's really upset. But to you, it looks like it's just normal interaction, and they go off together, and you don't see them for the rest of the night. And basically, I mean, it's just Cassie telling what happened and about the ship, and her mom trying not to freak out about this potential Sith, because she's had familiarity with Jedi, but her master was killed during the rebellion. Well, before the rebellion really caught on. Essentially before episode 4. So she's only got the very most basic of training, but she knows enough to know that the dark side is a problem, and that this guy is a threat, and there's a pretty good chance that he's not dead. Of course, Cassie doesn't believe that. Obviously, he's dead. The thing blew up.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous. But she hears her mom out, and it's a lot of just talking things through and kind of scolding her without ever raising her voice, and trying to discourage her from ever doing that kind of thing again. Which, of course, but Cassie listens, and so you don't really see. She might show up to just welcome you home and maybe share a drink, but she doesn't stay long.
Okay.
At the party.
Does Cassie take the keys to the ship?
I would imagine there are not keys to the ship, as much as I think it's entertaining to imagine it that way. In the same way that there aren't keys to an airplane. They just, go and turn them on. Plus, I mean, this is the farm, so she's not gonna put up any defenses, because if you can't trust the family, who can you trust? So
okay, well,
cousins can go up and look around, but
at some point in the night, after all of the older folks in the family have already fussed and fawned and said how much they missed me and stuff, I'm sure Camiya and a few cousins go and hang out and explore the ship and poke around. This is when we turn the conference table into a ping pong table.
A beer pong table? Yeah.
No, it's a ping pong table.
Oh, just drunken ping pong?
Yeah.
There are a ton of knee-high, super sharp, angular Durasteel corners So any kid that trips, they are getting a head wound. It is bad in here. Like it is a Sith ship. It is not. It is the opposite of like toddler safe.
Told you it's evil.
Like there's a big bucket of like choking hazards over in the corner.
Is it labeled?
Bucket of choking hazards.
Is it labeled choking hazards? Like with a spoon?
It's labeled. Those are the spare parts that you spent a force point on earlier, but now it's also choking hazards.
Oh! I didn't realize it was spare parts and choking. I should look at the fine print next time.
Yeah, that's the.
So.
So yeah, I totally hang out there. We poke around, go and sit up in the turret, and like poke around in like the engine room. And we're messing around like all through the ship, just exploring it and
there are gonna be
getting used to it and stuff.
So many space plastic cups left there.
A few bottles as well, and yeah, essentially, how if you're at a family event, like the generations just end up sort of separating themselves. Like, yeah, our generation brought our side party into the ship. I feel like we have to make some really bad decisions. So there's a tree at like the far side of a field, and we're trying to see who can hit it with the turret.
Oh. I'm kind of tempted to ask if I can spend a dark side point.
Space rednecks.
This is exactly what we do.
Both of you are spending a lot of time on the boat, or is it just Cassie?
It's just Camiya.
It's Camiya.
Oh, just on the boat.
Camiya's
Okay.
spending time on the boat. Yeah.
Then you give me a perception.
Okay.
Difficulty?
Moderate with a black.
My perception is a green and a yellow. I fail.
Never mind.
It's just a failure.
Okay.
I'm drinking, and I've got this chest pain. And,
How many like cousins, like how many people below the age of 17 are just like running through this thing? Is it like they're treating it like it's like a barn party, or it's just swarming with?
I feel like it's kind of just a smaller group. My character, isn't a teenager, and I don't think she's necessarily like the oldest of the cousins or anything. So there's definitely like a few like 20-somethings, low 20-somethings, kind of college age kids running around. Two, teenagers. Goes back to space ping pong.
It's just Pong.
It's just Pong.
For some reason, the console makes that sound, boop noise.
The boop sound whenever we do it. Yeah, it's hollow ping pong. So like you've got the paddles, but the ping pong ball isn't a real thing.
Which sounds kind of awesome because you never have to chase the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what Camiya does. She hangs out on the ship and she drinks and plays hollow pong and tries to play with the turret.
Hours go by, the youngins start to go and crash, and the family starts a bonfire in the middle of the property and just hanging out. Things start to get a little quiet. Sounds of night cross Hoban, echo out. A random wolf cry somewhere. Someone fires a blaster. Cassie, do you do anything with the rest of the night before people crash?
No, probably not.
Okay.
She's probably awake pretty late, but like sort of brooding in her room, sort of thing. So she's unaware of Starpot being smoked on her ship.
Camiya falls asleep on the bridge with like her feet up in like on the dash, and she falls asleep on the chair. There are some cups and bottles around.
You're in so much trouble.
Morning rises. Space Rooster, Star Rooster call. It's not your cousin's nickname, but an actual Star Rooster.
Also, it is our cousin's nickname. Yeah. So, well, yeah, he's Star Rooster. He wants to be in a one of them.
Everybody calls him Rooster. He tries to get them to call him Star Rooster.
He wants to be in one of those jizz bands.
Oh God, no! We're not. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
It's just a form of music.
I don't want to.
Well, I don't know that's like the edgy music, and that's what it's called. Apparently,
that was the edgy music 40 years ago.
That is a fair assessment.
So you get to update it. Whatever, like we go from jizz music to it can be something new, but there's a new trend of music. Can the new thing be glam rock? Can we figure out like a
yes?
That's the new trend.
Yeah. The sure. Current thing is definitely glam rock.
I'll sign off on that. It's totally
massive hair. That's all these different colors and like leather zipper jumpsuit that zips all the way down farther than you want to know your cousin. Like it's just
the makeup alone, just
and way too much chest hair.
They've repurposed a military medical droid just to apply like star makeup over your one eye.
But they never get like picked up at like local places for gigs.
Yeah.
So they're always just like, they don't know, man. They don't know. They're gonna learn. Our band rocks, dude.
I need to figure out what the band is called. Hold on, I'm going to my list.
Terrible.
My cousin's terrible glam rock
band.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get a good one. Hold on.
It's not just like sexual asymmetry or something?
Oh, that's
Androgynous Andromeda?
Ooh. Is that not real? That feels like it should be real.
Oh my God. What's the equivalent in Star Wars of a spinal tap?
Oh,
It can actually be called. It refers to something called a lumbar puncture.
Lumbar puncture? Is that the name of the band?
Can that actually be the name of the band?
Okay.
Yeah, they call it lumbar puncture.
They're a cheap ripoff of Spinal Tap.
I'm okay with that.
Like awful.
Star Rooster's band, Lumbar Puncture.
Well, sometimes it's also called a wet tap.
No. That's the name of their first album.
Even worse. Ew.
I know, it's terrible.
Ew.
I love it.
Oh God.
Okay, that was a tangent.
So yeah, but I love it. So we'll go visit.
So
that.
he goes through and like whenever you cannot leave a hollow console open because he'll totally put his mixtape in there, which is like literally just a hollow of like in the back of the hollow you can see the instruments a bit, but it's mostly just him because of course he's the lead singer with a microphone stand and a bandana wrapped around it, and him lunging really uncomfortably right, like he must have been like 2 inches away from the hollow projector. Like he's just like it's terrible. And that's your cousin. So like every single console in your entire ship has his mixtape like shoved in there, mixed hollow.
It's playing on loop at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. We are Lumbar Puncture, and we're here to tap you in to the cry of the universe.
This is what I have to walk into? Oh my God.
Camiya is not awake yet.
So she gets up in the morning.
Oh, hold on. Dream stuff happens.
Oh.
Ooh.
Dreamy.
Yeah. Cassie, you fall asleep and through hazy dream sequence filters, you find yourself in that hallway again, starting to walk towards the medical room, and you see the piles of bodies to the left and the right, and you see that capsule in the center of the room through the doorway.
That's awful.
Yep. What does your dream Cassie do?
Oh, Dream Cassie doesn't want to touch it at all. So, of course, because it's a dream, she keeps moving right towards it to open it up. And she knows exactly where, like, the one button to press is that causes it to pop right open.
You feel yourself glide without moving your feet through it. As you start to move past it, you see all the faces and all the skeletal bodies and all the piles all kind of look up at you and smile, and they all have your face on them as you glide past through the door. Your hand hovers above a violet large circle button on this cartoonishly large push pad in front of the capsule that wasn't there before. And your hand hovers over it, and it feels warm, like it's radiating body heat.
Yeah, so totally, she totally doesn't want to open it, so of course that's exactly what she's going to do.
Mm-hmm. Your hand presses the button, it depresses like 2 full inches, a big cartoonish button, and the capsule starts to turn a little, unlock, and start to open up. As it does, the purple liquid flows like water out from it and very quickly starts filling the room. And you feel the liquid moving up from your waist, up above your chest, up above your shoulders, and then over your head. You gasp for a moment and put your hands out. Everything goes dark. And then you see the fluid slowly start to recede down past your head, past your shoulders, past your chest. And you reach out and you feel a hand. You grasp a wrist. And as you open your eyes, you see yourself, and where your hand is, you see the goo-covered muscle, tendon, mechanical arm is your own hand. You look up and you see this look of horror on your own face as you are grabbing your own hand in that place, and you hear,
"The harmony of the universe. Yeah."
And then you wake up because the hollow of Star Rooster's rock single Wet Nap plays.
I don't get why nobody will play Wet Nap on the Star Radio. It's awesome.
Off our first album, Moisture of Love.
Oh, God. Yes, please. That's the worst.
So
Thanks, Rooster. Star Rooster.
Star Rooster.
Sure.
Star Rooster. I legally had my name changed. Rooster wasn't your name either. Damn it. Now his name is just like legally Star Ceryss. So his name is Star Ceryss, and he's like, damn it, I knew I forgot something. Remi, you have a dream also. You are in a metallic corridor with built-in white paneled Durasteel lights, and you're running. Who are you running from? There is, in your head, there's very clearly a singular person who in your head is larger than life, and you are running from them with absolute fear and desperation.
So as Remi is running down the hallway, running as fast as he can, it's that dream where you know you can run faster than this, but you're not getting anywhere, and the room starts to, the corridor starts to tilt sideways, and he looks back over his shoulder, and that all just kind of fades away, and looming impossibly large is the silhouette of what looks to be somewhat kind of an older man with probably bald and somewhat of a hook nose, and there's just a gleam off of what would be round spectacles, and he holds up a syringe with an exaggeratedly long needle on it. As Remi trips over something and starts to fall through the floor, he's falling, and he wakes up and falls out of the chair.
You do not hear Star Rooster's, he calls it the number 1 hit on Hoban, but you wake up in a cold sweat. Camiya.
Mm-hmm.
You go to sleep, you startle yourself awake, your feet sliding off the console, you sitting up, and you look out through the transparent steel front windows of the Atheon, and you see yourself drifting through space. Calmly, quietly, just the black void in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start seeing warning lights start to pop up on all the consoles. Consoles all, from the left wall all to the right wall, screaming at you, as if they were individual people yelling for your attention.
Camiya begins to, she hears as if they're standing behind her. And when she looks, she sees one of the teachers that taught her basic flight. Her first year in flight school. It's an older woman standing behind her with a very calm voice, speaking as if this is a test, and it's just like, what is the first thing you do? And she starts kind of looking through and kind of sets to work doing like flight checks, and she hearing this steady voice in her ear behind her.
You start flipping through the subsystems. You're like life support, thrust, artificial gravity. Every single time you start to move through it, halfway through the sequence, you feel like you messed up, and everything resets, and you go back 2 or 3 seconds, and then you're back at square one. You're going through it as if it's a checklist in your head, and you're questioning yourself, and you're unsure that maybe you've done something wrong. And all of a sudden you're there again. This feeling of tightness in your chest, of anxiety. In back of your brain, you're thinking, oh no, if I don't hurry up. In the back of the ship is your friends, is your family, everything's at stake. Life support's going out, gravity's gone, shields are going down. That part of your brain thinks it's a simulation, part of your brain understands that failing now means you might fail later and not be able to protect people. And that tightness on your chest gets stronger and stronger and stronger. You look down at the sticks, the flight sticks in front of you, and they start to melt almost like hot wax. But instead of dripping down, they drip towards you as these long tendrils of black goo starts to come towards you, and you feel that tightness in your chest become literal tightness as the dripping goo of the sticks go to your chest and start to crush the center of your chest. You feel the pits that are in your skin now from the attack that you took earlier that day. That's where all that pressure is coming from, and you feel like you can't breathe.
There's a part of her that knows what she was trying to kind of call out the name of her teacher as she was trying to finish the flight sequence. And the hand that she felt on her shoulder of her teacher, her teacher's voice going slowly mute, as if Camiya was falling unconscious. Things started sounding farther and farther away. At some point, the hand went from being a human hand. She felt metal pieces, and some part of her in her core knew that it was the Sith from earlier that was clutching her shoulder as her chest wound ached.
That's what we're here for. Everything, every part screams.
And as she wakes up to the sound of Rooster's band, smacks the console to quickly turn off the music, put her feet down out of the off of the bridge, and put her head in her hands, kind of rubbing her temples.
And your chest aches.
She gets up. She grabs her boots that she had left on the that she'd left sitting next to the chair, and starts walking out to go back into the house.
Thanks for listening. By the way, Blasterheads, we're going to have some pretty big news coming up in the near future. To make sure you stay up to date on all our goings-on, follow us on Facebook or Twitter at No Match Podcast. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes, Google Play, Music, or wherever you get your podcast from. No Match for a Blaster is a podcast by Morality Plays. Star Wars, Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, and Force and Destiny are made by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our theme is by Kevin McLeod, sound effects by Tristan Logren, Vindis, and Akmov. And as always, I'd like to thank my amazing players. Brandon playing Remi Drobash, Claire playing Cassie Ceryss, and Bobby playing Camiya Ceryss. And thank you, listeners! This continues to be a fantastic experience. And I look forward to seeing you next time in a galaxy far, far away.